Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhattacharya Gaur Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhattacharya Gaur Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
it's by divine grace that the Lord decided to incarnate in these terrible times of Kali Yuga, where everything is extremely dark. At least, Indian people, they can, to some degree, maybe see a little bit more clearly how Vedic civilization was practically destroyed by the Kali Yuga. And that's the normal course of things. It just gets wiped out. And the Malechas and Yavanas control everything and fight amongst themselves for superiority. But by our good fortune, we were born in a time where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and is casting an age of goodness within this dark age. And along with him comes his stalwart devotees, such as Nityananda Prabhu. Just like Nityananda appears when the Lord appears as Ramchandra, he appears as Lakshman, and when the Lord comes himself as Krishna, he comes as Balaram. So with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came as Nityananda. But when Krishna was here, he manifested all of the Vishnu forms, especially his Narayana and Vasudeva form when he would kill the demons, particularly in his Mathura and Dwarka Leela. Maybe less so, probably not at all in his Vrindavan Leela. But in this Chaitanya Leela, we have Mahavishnu somehow ever combining with Sadashiva, who only resides in Goloka, combining together and appearing as Advaita Acharya. And then Narada, the great sage amongst the Devas, who takes part in all of Krishna's pastimes, and he has so much to do with so many of the pastimes. He appears as Srivas, and Radharani comes after giving her effulgent self to Krishna to come together as Lord Chaitanya. The remainder comes as Gadadhar Pandit. So these 5 persons are known as Pancha 5 Tattva, the 5 truths, because within those people, those incarnations, we can discover all the Vedic knowledge. Such as Srivas represents the Jivatma, souls like ourselves. Of course, we can see from his personification, perfection, how we can, become perfect like him, can become a pure-hearted, good person who has love for Krishna and love for all living entities. And then we can also see the Lord's internal potency in Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit would cry so much for Krishna, for Lord Chaitanya. And Mother Sachi, she always wanted Gadadhar Pandit by Nimai's side. She was afraid of Nimai's ecstatic trances, and only Gadadhar Pandit could mercifully take care of him. And then we can see the potency of Krishna or of God. We can see the personality of God in himself. It's hard to see him in Lord Chaitanya because all these tattvas, this pancha-tattva, they're all enjoying themselves as devotees. So they don't exhibit themselves as God, but they exhibit themselves as devotees. And, because they're Krishna, they're the greatest devotees. No devotee can compare to them. And Lord Chaitanya is like, he's like the king of Vaikuntha and the lion amongst the Brahmins. There's no Brahmin ever been as pure and scholastic and wonderful as Lord Chaitanya. So, but he is God himself. And Nityananda, we can see the strength of Balaram, who creates the spiritual worlds. Everything expands from him. And in Advaita, we can get a glimpse of Mahavishnu, how powerful that person is who can make universes and who can expand into universes. And whatever he does in the spiritual world, he is there, protecting that place. Although what protection it needs, no one knows, other than, they have fun enjoying the rumors that something evil may come, but there's nothing evil in the spiritual world. And Sadashiva would certainly make sure of that. So I chose two pastimes to read. One is short, the other is not so long either. Won't delay us too long. But these pastimes from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, they give us a little idea of Advaita Acharya and Lord Chaitanya, the Panchatattva, how great the Lord is, who has appeared in our day and time in this dark age, and he's creating an age of goodness. Now we can certainly have a glimpse of that because we certainly have a perception of how bad it can be. And it's a great wonder that it can be made good, perfectly good. There's certainly goodness mixed up with all of this, but to become perfectly good, only God can do that. So anyhow, this first pastime, the Lord was sitting among the devotees, headed by Advaita and Srivas. The Lord then asked Srivas Pandit about Advaita Acharya. The Lord said, "O Srivas, please tell me what kind of Vaishnava you think Advaita Prabhu is." Srivas Pandit thought for a moment and then said, "I consider him similar to Sukadeva or Prahlad." Hearing the comparison of Advaita with Prahlad and Sukadeva, the Lord became angry at Srivas. As an affectionate father thanks his son to teach him, in the same way the Lord gave one slap to Srivas. "What did you say? What did you say, Pandit Srivas? You are saying my nada?" That was Mahaprabhu's nickname for Advaita Acharya, nada. "You were saying my nada is like Sukadeva or Prahlad? You may say that Sukadeva is fully liberated, but in front of nada, he is like an infant. How dare you say such things about my nada? O Srivas, you have given me great distress today." Saying this, the Lord angrily took a fishing rod. Now where they were, if there was a fishing rod there, they are fishing people in Bengal, for sure. But then the Lord angrily took a fishing rod in his hand and chased after Srivas to hit him. Sri Advaita Acharya quickly stood up and gently caught hold of the Lord's hand. "O Lord, a father teaches his son out of compassion. Therefore, who in the three worlds is a suitable candidate for your anger?" Hearing the words of Advaita Acharya, the Lord gave up his anger and in ecstasy began to profusely glorify Advaita. The Lord said, "Since all of you are like my children, my anger is now vanquished. Who could know the glories of nada? It was he who woke me from sleep and brought me here." The Lord said, "My dear Srivas, is this how you respect my nada? Sukadeva and others are like his children. you should know that they are all junior to Nada. I have incarnated only because of Advaita Prabhu. His loud crying is still ringing in my ears. I was lying down in the ocean of milk, and my Nada's loud cries woke me and brought me here. Srivas, who had natural affection for Advaita, became very happy when he heard the Lord's statements. Trembling in fear, Srivas said, "O my Lord, I have offended you. Please forgive me. You alone know the truth about Advaita. If you disclose this truth, then ever servants can know. Today I have become fortunate, and everything has become auspicious as a result of receiving your instructions. Now you have revealed your authority, and my mind has become strengthened today. From today my resolve is that if Advaita Prabhu touches even one or women, still I will have staunch devotion for him. I make this promise before you." Okay, purport is a translation of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's purport. When Sri Gaurasundra asked Srivas Pandit about the position of Advaita and Srivas, Srivas replied that Advaita Prabhu was among the topmost devotees like Sri Sukadeva and Prahlad. Sri Gaurasundra became very angry about his evaluation and said, "Sri Advaita Prabhu is the prime cause of my advent. From him all the devotees have appeared. He is the manifestation of Lord Vishnu's Upadana Karana. Therefore, he is none different from Lord Vishnu and does not belong to the category of devotees." Unquote. That's Bhaktisiddhanta, quoting the verse. When Srivas understood from Gaurasundra's statement that one should not count Advaita Prabhu by external worldly consideration as a devotee, he said, quote, "From today on, I will accept Advaita Prabhu as Vishnu Tattva. Therefore, I will not consider Advaita Prabhu on the same level as living entities, attached to indulging in intoxicants and sense gratification. I will also understand that there is no possibility for Vishnu Tattva to become materially affected. It's confirmed in the verse, Na prakri tattvam iha bhakta janasya pashyat. A pure devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view." So, the pastime goes on to describe devotees after that. But this is the second to last chapter in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And there's this pastime where the Lord is, Advaita Prabhu is acting like a devotee, and the Lord is acting like a devotee, but the devotees are treating Lord Chaitanya like the Lord. They all love him, and they want him to do the things that a sannyasi does, such as eat at brahmanas' houses. So they all want him to come to their house to eat so they can feed the Lord. All the Vaishnavas knew what foodstuffs the Lord liked in his childhood. Therefore, they all lovingly brought those items for offering to the Lord. The devotees would affectionately cook those items and invite the Lord to accept their offering. Whenever the Lord was invited to the residence of a devotee, he would eat there with great affection. All the wives of the Vaishnavas were expansions of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Therefore, their cooking was so wonderful I cannot describe it. Their eyes were always filled with tears of love, and their mouths were always filled with the holy name of Krishna. Those Vaishnavis knew what vegetable preparations the Lord liked when he was previously in Navadvip. Therefore, they cooked those preparations with love, and the Lord also ate all their offerings with great love. So this is happening in Jagannath Puri. All the devotees have been given a residence, and they are there, but they brought with them all the food that Lord Gauranga likes. So they're taking turns cooking for him. Therefore they cooked those preparations with love, and the Lord ate all their offerings with great love. One day, the magnanimous, Lan-like Advaita Acharya requested the Lord, "Please take your lunch at my house today. I cook only a handful of rice. Please accept it so that my hands will become glorious." The Lord replied, "Whoever eats your rice attains Krishna in his devotional service. O Acharya, your rice is my life. Krishna certainly eats whatever you cook. When you prepare an offering for Krishna, I am ready to even beg for the remnants." Who can understand the ecstasy Advaita felt when he heard such affectionate words from the Lord? In great satisfaction, Advaita then returned home and made arrangements for the Lord's meal. Advaita's chaste wife, who was an expansion of Lakshmi, began to joyfully prepare for cooking. She gave Advaita those items that were dear to the Lord, that she had brought from Bengal. She, Advaita Mahashaya, then meditated on Lord Chaitanya as he sat down and began cooking. His chaste wife made preparations for cooking different vegetables according to the inspiration that manifested in her heart. She knew the Lord was very fond of sak, so she gave Advaita 10 varieties of sak she had brought. Advaita Acharya cooked and his chaste wife assisted. In this way they both floated in an ocean of happiness. Advaita said, "O mother of Krishnadas, listen. Let me tell you what I am thinking. I don't know, but I want the Lord to relish everything that we have cooked. If he comes along with ever sannyasis, I am certain he will not eat very much." Generally, all the sannyasis accompany the Lord every day to take their meals. They all have great respect for the Lord, so out of affection they take their meals with him. Advaita thought, "How nice are all these preparations. If only the Lord would come alone. Then I can make him eat all these preparations. But how can I fulfill this desire of mine?" Advaita Acharya continued to think in this way as he cooked. Meanwhile, the Lord completed the chanting of his fixed number of holy names and prepared to perform his noon duties. The sannyasis who generally took their meal with the Lord also went to perform their noon duties. At that time, however, Indra, the king of the demigods, suddenly sent an intense shower of rain and strong wind for the satisfaction of Advaita. Hailstones began to fall everywhere. The wind blew furiously and it rained without limit. All the directions became so darkened with dust in the air that the sannyasis could not find the way to their residence. The wind was so forceful that no one could stand still and no one could understand what direction they were going. The area where Sri Advaita was cooking, however, had only a little rain and wind. The sannyasis who generally took their meal with the Lord got lost, and no one knew where they went. Meanwhile, the Lan-like Advaita finished cooking and cleaned the spot where he placed the rice and vegetable preparations. He also set out ghee, yogurt, milk, cream, butter, pishtaka, a sweet preparation made with rice, varieties of sweets, sandesh, and bananas. After putting a tulsi manjari, on each preparation, Advaita sat down and meditated on bringing Guru Hari there. Advaita meditated in such a way the Lord would come alone. In fact, by the desire of Advaita, Shri Guru Chandra did come to his house alone. The Lord was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in ecstatic love as he came before Advaita. The Lord accepted the yogurt, milk, ghee, cream, sandesh, and whatever else was given by Advaita. In this way, the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya, took his meal and satisfied the desires of the Lord-like Advaita. As the Lord was finishing his meal, Advaita began offering prayers to Indra. "O Indra, today I have come to know your prowess. Today I have come to know that you are certainly a Vaishnava. From today, Indra, I will offer you water and flowers, for today you have certainly purchased me." The Lord inquired, "Why are you offering nice prayers to Indra today? Please tell me." Advaita replied, "You just eat. There is no need for you to hear about this." The Lord said, "O Acharya, why are you trying to hide the truth? The rain and the winds that came were all your doing. This is not the season for strong winds, yet strong winds, intense rain, and great hailstorm suddenly appeared. I have understood without doubt that all these disturbances were arranged by your will. I will now explain why you had Indra do all this. You thought that if I came with the sannyasis, I would not eat very much. But if I came alone, I could fulfill your desire by feeding me everything you cooked. Therefore, you created all these disturbances to stop the other sannyasis from coming. The fact that Indra carried out your order does not demonstrate your actual potency. It was his good fortune that he got an opportunity to serve you. Even Lord Krishna does not refuse your request. You were able to make him appear anywhere. Is arranging for some wind and rain wonderful for one whose words are respected by Krishna Chandra? Is arranging some wind and rain wonderful for one whose order, Yamaraj, Tam, and Death carry on their head, whose lotus feet are desired by the best of the yogis and munis, and by remembering whom one is freed from all bondage? Is arranging some wind and rain wonderful for one whose order Yamaraj, Tam, and Death carry on their head, whose lotus feet are desired by the best of the yogis and munis, and by remembering whom one is freed from all bondage? Who in this world knows you perfectly? Only by your mercy one can get the fruit of devotional service. Advaita said, "You are very affectionate to your servants. I derive strength because I have accepted this fact with my body, mind, and word. May I always remain as powerful as a lion by the strength of your devotional service, by the strength of devotional service to you. Please give me the benediction that you will never abandon me." In this way, the two Prabhus relished their discussion as the Lord happily finished his meal. The statements coming from Advaita's lotus mouth are all certainly true. There is no other possibility. Anyone who does not relish hearing this narration is the lowest of men and will certainly be bereft of Advaita's merciful glance. The bond of love between Hari and Sankara is factual, yet it cannot be understood by ignorant materialistic persons. If someone displeases either of them, they will both be displeased. This same relationship between Hari and Sankara was manifested between Lord Chaitanya and Advaita. The kind-hearted Advaita Prabhu always described these topics for the deliverance of the world. One who is able to understand Advaita's statements knows that there is no difference between him and the Supreme Lord. Anyone who hears these pastimes with devotion will achieve the most auspicious devotional service of Lord Krishna. After fulfilling the desire of the lion-like Advaita, Lord Chaitanya returned to his residence. In this way, the Lord accepted meals at the houses of Srivas and other devotees, and thereby fulfilled their desires. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, that was wonderful.
So the amazing thing is that the Lord, even as Krishna, and especially as Mahaprabhu, he does miraculous things. As Krishna, he appeared as a Khatri amongst human beings, as a ruler. And no one could compete with him. And it was obvious that he was a god, and of course, he was the Supreme Lord. But so many folks did not recognize him. That's the power of the Lord's illusory potency. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't want to be recognized. Krishna probably didn't make no difference. He was just doing his pastimes of his free will. The Pandavas recognized him, Bhishma, and so many other great devotees. But so many people did not recognize exactly who he was. Vyasadeva was there on earth, and there were so many that certainly knew that the Supreme Vishnu had appeared. But many people didn't know. But Lord Chaitanya, when Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya, he does not want people to recognize him, because he's playing as a devotee. Therefore, he's known as the hidden avatar. He's coveted. No one can figure him out. He does the most amazing feats, but as a Brahmin. Brahmins don't fight with swords, they fight with words. And their sport is debate, not, firing weapons. And Lord Chaitanya was such a great scholar at such a young age that all the Pandits were extremely afraid of him. And the amazing thing is that when someone would become cornered by him, what would happen would be that they would have great admiration for him, great wonder that they were in his presence, but at the same time great fear, because it would be a little bit humiliating. You're a big scholar, you're maybe 3-4 times older than this person, and all your students are with you. And he's going to start discussing with you in such a way that there's no way you can possibly sneak out of it, because he does everything so magnificently and sweetly, and he looks so beautiful. He's like the crest jewel of the Brahmanas. Pearls cannot, they cannot be compared to his teeth. And his lips are like the radiant sun. And he's got this curly black hair, and he wears his dress so wonderfully. And all the people in Navadvip are seeing him, but yet no one knows who it is, really. They just think he's Nimai. He's a great scholar, and he's the son of Jagannath Mishra, but it's just Nimai. They can't figure out that it's actually the Lord appeared, even though no one could do what he's doing. And so he would speak in such a sweet way with them that he would get them to present some truth. That's how they would compete. Present some fact to me, some law of nature, some thesis on some particular matter, shastra, logic, whatever it be. And so the person, he would expound on something with his erudite knowledge. And they were scholars, they were erudite scholars, big prominent professors. And then Mahaprabhu would prove it to be wrong. And then he would show him what is truth. This is what is really the truth. And then right before their very eyes, he would say, no, actually, this is not so. I will show you how what you said is so. And then he would prove their theory or their explanation. And he could do that time and time and again. And then he would speak so sweetly. You know, the Pandit would perhaps be sweating, but he would release him. He would, you know, he'd even do this to devotees, like Srivas and Gadadhar. They all always tried to avoid him because, you know, this was just mundane debate as far as they were concerned. They wanted to hear about Krishna. And Nimai was just someone absorbed in scholastics. They didn't really care for that, but sometimes Nimai would be able to capture them. But they were all living in Navadvip and, you know, be on the street, and sometimes you just bump into someone. And once he bumped into you, he wanted to get you involved in a conversation. Then you couldn't sneak out of it. So he would sometimes capture the devotees like that. And sometimes the devotees would speak very strongly. Srivas would say, why are you so concerned with this materialistic life? Don't you know that this will not get you very far? You should take up the worship of Lord Krishna immediately and become a devotee. And he would go on preaching to him like that, and then Nimai would say something like, yes, one day I will do that, but for now let me go to school and learn some more. So, of course, his greatest feat was when he defeated the greatest of Pandits. There was one Pandit in India who had been blessed by the goddess of learning, Saraswati. And she would appear on the tip of his tongue. And no Pandit could stand before him. And he had traveled all over India debating with Pandits. And he had defeated all of them. Most of the scholars couldn't even understand his erudite speech. It was so powerful and so articulate and beautiful in its composition. But, you know, when he met Nimai, sitting on the bank of the Ganges with all of his students, he was in awe and veneration. And that same feeling came over him. He had all this admiration, but at the same time he felt fear. And so but yet, you know, he had come to Navadvip to defeat all the scholars, and all the scholars were paranoid. Because how could they compete with someone who the goddess of fortune herself set on the tip of his tongue? He was blessed like that. I mean, he was a blessed Pandit. And no one could excel him in learning. So he was used to that dignity of being that type of person. So he moved into the group and he took a place, and Nimai recognized him and called him over. And, a discussion ensued. And Nimai asked him, "You are such a great Pandit. Say something about the Ganga." And this Pandit was so powerful that he composed immediately. He just vibrated from his mouth, just like someone who has memorized the Bhagavad Gita, can just start reciting the Sanskrit slokas. So he recited 100 slokas. It's like, 4 lines each. Just 100 slokas. Took him an hour or a little bit more. And he spoke it, he sounded it with like thunder. It's like hearing a great orator. And all the students there were just looking at him with their mouths dropped open. They couldn't believe a human being could do this, could compose and recite such poetry on the spur of the moment like that. They were completely astounded. What to speak of finding some fault in it. So then Nimai went on to defeat him in such a sweet way. In a very sweet way, but the Pandit was left dumbfounded. He had to find out why Goddess Saraswati had deserted him. But yet, it was a fact that he was soundly defeated by Nimai. And anyway, she revealed to him in his dream that night why she had deserted him, and gave him the best advice, explained to him how he had become fortunate, because all of his learning had brought him to the highest position that could possibly be achieved by anyone. And he has come face to face with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she advised him to now go and surrender to him and give up this materialistic way of life. And he did that, and Nimai made him a devotee. And he actually gave up everything and became a wandering mendicant, completely renounced from the world. Just like that, he renounced everything. And just went on to teach the science of devotional service and the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. So my point is that even after all of that, they still didn't recognize him. Nobody could recognize who he actually was unless he revealed himself. You could not, because that's the power of his Maya, that he can be God. He is God himself, and he could be sitting right before us, but none of us would recognize him. We would think, oh, that's Nimai. He's from our village. He's from our town. He's one of us. That's the power of his Maya. It's so powerful, he cannot be revealed. The goddess of learning told that Pandit, do not reveal this to anyone. If you do, it will not be good for you. And there was a similar instance also in his childhood where one Brahmin, he revealed himself to one Brahmin, and he told that Brahmin, do not reveal this to anyone, or it will not be very good for you. So he would have occasionally reveal himself to someone, but he remained undisclosed to everyone. So, and the same with Advaita Acharya. We have been made fortunate by all the devotees who have simply passed everything down to us. Especially ourselves here in the West, because it was brought from Gaudadesh, from the land of Lord Chaitanya, to the Western world, where we all would get to hear all the personal glories of the Lord, Krishna and all his incarnations, and Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise, we would just, if we were into theology and religion and philosophy and those things, then we were just stuck trying to understand God, in light of Western philosophy and science, with no understanding of his eternal pastimes and wonderful personal attributes and his personal forms and the divine vibrations that make up his name. All these things we were oblivious to. And then Prabhupada brings them to our part of the world, and it all becomes revealed. And Prabhupada gives the job to all the devotees to simply go out and give Krishna, give Lord Chaitanya to everyone. Just give them my books. That's all that's required. And all of this has come to be because Advaita Acharya called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He, in the mood of a servant, he didn't steal the glory for himself, but he called the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Even though he is Vishnu, he called Krishna himself to come to deliver all the fools and rascals. So Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya to do that. And Advaita assisted him. And by us hearing Advaita's glory and honoring him tonight and taking his prasad, then it's amazing that that same revelation we can have a piece of. We can gain some faith in Krishna consciousness and actually become a devotee. Just like all these devotees we hear about feeding the Lord. That's ultimately it's all Advaita Chandra's mercy, Advaita Acharya's mercy, because he called Lord Chaitanya to come. Okay, so it's 7:20. We can stop here, and I guess devotees can start bringing in the tables and getting the feast together. Is there anything else before we start?
Was everything you were reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat then?
Yes, all that was from Chaitanya Bhagavat. It was all in the 9th chapter of the Ancha Lila, the second part, the second to last chapter. The last chapter tells the glories of Pundarik Vijayanidhi. It's a pretty amazing chapter. Him and Gadadhar Pandit are having some fun together in Jagannath Puri. And Lord Jagannath personally chastises Pundarik Vijayanidhi because he found some fault in his devotees. Couldn't understand there was a different way that everybody else did things in all the temples, and in Puri they were doing things a certain way. And that wasn't kosher, so to speak. It's just not the way that you do it in all the other temples. And so he was speaking sort of belittling. What are these pandits here in Puri? They're so, why they do like this? And so, but that night Lord Jagannath came and beat him up a little bit. He said, what are you doing talking about my devotees like this? He said, I love their service, the way they do it. So, Pundarik Vijayanidhi woke up in ecstasy. The Lord has personally come and chastised me. He looked in the mirror and his cheeks were red from the slap. And immediately went to Gadadhar Pandit and told him what had happened. That Jagannath came to me last night and chastised me. And so they both, after that, were just walking around in ecstasy. Yeah, it's a wonderful book, Chaitanya Bhagavat. And of course, our Chaitanya Charitamrita that we read every morning. The Lord has, He's appeared in our world. And in our world, it's so without using a word like demoniac, it's so puffed up that, we just think Krishna's mythology. It's like, think about it when you were in high school or something. It just sounds like mythology. If you've been already indoctrinated like that, like we are in the Western world, you think that it's mythology. So, it may be been a little bit hard to just have faith in Krishna because it all sounds so mythological. Fantastic weapons, all kinds of demons, and doing all super wonderful things like comic book character or something. But Lord Chaitanya is different. He's a saintly person. And his delivering people, it's much more conceivable to fallen souls who most of us at one time or another, if not every month or so, or if not every day, we're crying out for mercy because of the nature of this material world. No one's up forever in this Kali Yuga. We may have our heights, but everyone's always knocked down. What can you do but call out to someone, some greater force to maybe save you or help you? So, everyone appreciates a deliverer, a great person who's beyond it all, who delivers everyone. And that was Lord Chaitanya. He could deliver everyone. And so, I don't, because of Lord Chaitanya, I could have some faith. I couldn't have just faith in Krishna. I could have faith in impersonal Brahman, but not in Krishna. That's how much we're covered over in Kali Yuga. Oh, give me the impersonal. But a supreme person sounds a little bit mythological, unless it's just the Christian conception of some sort of judge in the sky, So, anything else? Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Advaita Acharya ki,